Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys two alternatives to the new ABH Riviera eyeshadow palette. Now, I just uploaded not my review, but kind of like a first impression and tutorial on this palette. If you want to see it, I will have it linked down below in the description. And I know there are a lot of us, including myself, who like to shop for drugstore and affordable makeup. So hopefully this video is helpful for those of you who want to get your hands on the Riviera palette, but you don't want to spend the extra coin for it. So I have two. Now, these are the only two that I found in my whole entire eyeshadow palette collection. I really tried my best to find other ones in my collection that were kind of similar to this palette, but honestly, it was really hard. So I grabbed two, and these ones are not dupes, but they are definitely some alternatives if you really liked the one by ABH. So I'm going to be swatching all the palettes in today's video, and what I'm going to do is just match the colors that are in the two palettes that I picked up to the colors that are in the Riviera eyeshadow palette. Not going to swatch all shades. If you guys want to see me swatch all shades in this palette, I do have the video linked down below. But really this video is just going to focus on the shades that match the shades that are in the Riviera eyeshadow palette. So yeah, if you guys are interested in seeing the two palettes that I pulled out of my collection that I thought were good alternatives to this palette, then let's go ahead and jump right in. So the first one I have is the Revlon Color Charge eyeshadow palette. You can pick this up from CVS, you can pick it up from Walgreens, and I believe I've seen this in Walmart as well. It's very affordable. I forgot the price exactly, but I will have the prices down below in the description so you guys can refer down there. But this one definitely reminded me of the Riviera palette, and I say that because of the pink, the purple, and the brown. So I'm going to go ahead and swatch. Well, let me go ahead and show them side by side so you guys can see it better. But this is what they both look like. Is it focusing? But here they are right here. So the first shades that really stand out to me in the Revlon palette is the pink as well as the purple, and then comes the brown. So I'm gonna go ahead and swatch all of them, well, all three of them, and then I think I see another shade in here that can actually match the shade in the Riviera palette. So, but here's a pink, purple, and then we have the brown. Now, one thing about the Revlon palette, it doesn't swatch as good as the one by ABH. So I'm gonna try to layer the colors up so you guys can really see what they look like, if that even works. But as far as how they blend with the brush, they blend really nicely. And these, like the shadows in here, I feel like they're not as much, you don't get as much kick up as you do as the ones in the ABH palette. So yeah, now let's pick up the Riviera palette. I'm gonna swatch the same three shades that could be similar to the one in the Revlon palette. So the pink, purple, and brown. Super pigmented, you guys. Definitely check out the video that I did on this palette if you want to see how I did this look, and also the swatches. But let's match up these together. Purple, pink, woo, definitely brighter. And now obviously the shades from the ABH palette are more bold, but those are what they look like side by side. If you want to get the pink to show up even more, you can use an eyeshadow primer on the lid just so that, you know, the colors can pop more, or if you want to wet your brush, anything to just make the pink show up even more. So anything on the lid, primer, concealer, or just wetting your brush with a setting spray. But these are the only three shades in the Revlon palette that really just stood out to me, that immediately reminded me of the Riviera palette. So now I'm just gonna try to take a closer look to see if we can match up anything else. Now it does look like we have a peach in here as well as the ABH palette. So I'm gonna go ahead and swatch the peach looking color. And this one may be a little bit lighter, but I'll swatch it right here. And it also has some, a little sheen to it. And then this one in ABH, it doesn't have any sheen, like it doesn't have like a glow to it at all, but just so you guys can see what they kind of look like. This one's matte, and then this one kind of has a glow. So you can't really say that those are dupes, but those are 4 of the shades. And what else? Okay, we have yellow. Let's try this yellow in the Revlon palette. The yellow also has a little bit of a glow to it, so I'm gonna swatch it let's swatch it right here. So the yellow, and then the one in the ABH palette, this one has more glow. So this is like a metallic, like a true metallic color. So I'm not gonna swatch too much of it, so that way you guys can kind of see what it looks like. Super pigmented, but just to kind of put a little bit on the hand and rub it in. So there we go, right there. So, I mean, not like a dead-on dupe, but the color story is definitely similar. So those are those shades. So if you love pinks, if you love purples, if you love browns, if you love gold, if you love those shades and you don't want to spend that much money on the ABH palette, then definitely check out this one by Revlon. Anything else in this palette that we can try to match up? I don't think there's anything else. Actually, let's try to do this silvery color right here, because it's actually a little bit lighter, but I want to see how it looks side by side to the one in the ABH palette. So we're gonna pick up this light silver color in the Revlon palette. And this one also has, it's kind of like a sheen, like a metallic color, but it's not too metallic-y. But once you apply it on the skin, you can definitely see a glow. Kind of like a gunmetal silver. And the one in the Riviera palette, I want to say Seaside may be closer to it than this one right here. So we're gonna swatch Seaside. I'm gonna tap my finger in this because y'all, this is super pigmented. All you have to do is just tap your finger in it and you're good. So Seaside, oh, okay, it looks just like it, just like it. My elbow is ashy, but you guys see what I'm talking about. Looks just like the one in the Revlon palette. Just like it. So that's actually all of the shades that I thought were pretty similar to the ones in the ABH palette. But yeah, like I said, if you're into these type of shades, even if you're just starting out with color, like if you've never used color a day in your life, but you want to start, you know, experimenting with color and you don't want to spend that much money on the ABH palette, definitely try the one from Revlon. So that one is definitely close to the Riviera palette. The only thing is you're not gonna get the blue. I mean, there is a blue in here, but it's deep. Like it's a really deep cobalt blue. This one in the ABH, it's kind of like a, what is it? Teal color blue. And that's about it. I mean, you have other shades in here like this dark green and the light green, but you don't have any greens in this one. So, I mean, you have more of a color variety in the Revlon one than you do with the ABH. So this next one is by NYX, and this is one of their new palettes. This is the Off Tropic Hasta La Vista eyeshadow palette. I just hauled this one in one of my recent haul videos, and I thought this really looked like, well, it doesn't look just like it, but it reminded me of the ABH palette. So I'm gonna go ahead and show y'all what it looks like side by side. So there you go, right there. Now the thing that I noticed about the NYX palette is the pink and the purple look just like the pink and purple in the ABH palette. The one from the Revlon palette, the pink and purple wasn't as bright as these, but these look like they would be like spot on dupes. Now it doesn't have brown, it doesn't have, let's just go ahead and swatch. So I'm gonna start out with the pink and purple in this palette. I'm gonna keep the swatches on this hand and just work on this hand. Hopefully I can do this with my left hand. And another thing I want to add about the NYX palette is the shades are super bright and super pigmented, just like the ones in the ABH palette. So if you're looking for pigment, then this one is definitely going to give you more pigment than the one by Revlon. So here we are, the pink and purples. This is going to be hard. I'm doing it with my left hand. So we have the purple, pink. Look how freaking pigmented that is. Super pigmented. Now we can go in the Riviera palette. Just as pigmented as the one by NYX. And we have this is so hard because it's on my left hand. Purple and then the pink right there. All right, here's a close-up. I would say these are definitely good dupes. The shades are pretty much the same and the pigment is just the same. So those were the only two that I could just tell right off the bat that were going to be similar to the ones in ABH. Now let's just try to study the palette and see. Okay, so NYX does have a gold in here, and this gold does have a nice shine to it because I've already swatched it in a haul video. And let's try to do it comparing it to the gold right here in the ABH palette. Let's see. Let's see how these are gonna swatch. So up here is NYX. And then we have ABH. ABH is definitely obviously brighter, but the colors are the same. It's just you get more pigment from ABH. Try to switch it around so you guys can see it really good. All right, I also see a gold. Well, this is like a matte gold in the NYX palette, and there's also one in the ABH palette, but this one is not as bright. This one is more of a mustardy, yellowy gold looking color. That doesn't even make sense, but I still want to swatch it and see how they look side by side. So I'm going to start out with the one from NYX. You know, sometimes when you swatch a color, it doesn't really look the same as it does in the pan. So let's see how this is gonna look. All right. This NYX palette is good, you guys. I haven't even tried it out on the eyes yet, but as far as the swatches, it is good. So let's try this one from Riviera and see. Okay, just by swatching them on my finger, both of them side by side look very similar. Ooh. Okay. You know what, now that I keep looking at it, actually the one in NYX is more yellow and more bright, but I mean the color story is pretty freaking similar. Pretty similar. Okay, I don't think I see anything else in the NYX palette that can match up to the ABH. Both of them have a peach color. The one in the NYX is obviously lighter, so this peach right here, I'm just gonna swatch it anyway so y'all can see. But it's obviously lighter. It's more of a neon peach, but I want to see what it looks like, at least swatched on the skin. Definitely bright. And then this one in the ABH palette is definitely lighter, but just so y'all can see how they look side by side. It's definitely going to throw off, like it's not even close, but I still want you guys to see. There you go, right there. And that is all that I can see that would compare from these two palettes. You don't have a brown in the NYX palette, but I mean, you don't have a brown in the NYX palette. All of the shades in this palette are matte except for the gold that we swatched, but everything else is matte. And in this palette, you know, you have more metallics at the top of the palette, and then all of these are matte at the bottom. So if you're like me and you see a palette and you fall in love with like one or two shades but still want the entire palette, and if those two shades were the pink and purple, I would highly recommend getting the one by NYX because it's definitely cheaper, and right now it is on sale. Hopefully by the time this video goes up, it's still on sale. But yes, those are all of the shades swatched that I felt like were pretty similar to the ABH palette. And surprisingly, I didn't have any other palettes in my collection that I thought would be similar to this. I kind of just went off the color story. Now I do have palettes in my collection that has shades that are in this palette. It's just that these two palettes that I just showed actually have more shades that are the ones, well, that match up to the ones from the ABH palette. Now, I will say, when I first saw this palette, the shades that really spoke to me were the pink and purple. Like, these are the only two shades in this palette that spoke to me, as well as the blue too, but I have so many freaking palettes with this same blue. But the pink and purple really, really, really stood out to me. So if those two shades stand out to you the most, and that is the reason why you want this palette, but you don't want to spend that much money on this palette, then definitely get the one from NYX. I mean, you can see the purple and the pink are just like the purple and the pink in the Riviera palette. I mean, if the affordable option is out there, get it. But yeah, I think that is all that I have for today. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I also hope it helped those of you who are kind of on the fence of the Riviera palette. So if you're wanting something that's more affordable, something that looks very similar to this but not like dead on dupe, which I'm pretty sure they're going to be coming out with dupes for this palette. They just haven't yet. I'm pretty sure some companies like Hush and some other like companies that do dupe palettes, I'm pretty sure that they are working on them right now. But just the ones that I showed you in today's video were the only two out of my collection that I found look very similar to this, but just not like spot on to it. I mean, if you see something that's similar to this, that's affordable, especially if you're just getting into color, like I would not recommend spending the extra money on a palette if you're just now starting out with using colors on the eyes. So start out small, start out with something that's affordable, something that you won't be, you know, throwing all of your money away on. So I think that is all that I have for today. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Also, I am doing a giveaway on my channel for this year. So every single month, I'm gonna be giving away one box to one person, and it's super easy to enter. All you have to do is just, of course, make sure you're subscribed, and also thumbs up the video as well as my other videos, and leave a comment down below in the comment section. Now, I don't want the comments to be anything about the giveaway, so let's go ahead and talk about today's video. Actually, let's talk about the palettes. Let's talk about, you know, products that you've been loving. Let's just talk about makeup, nothing about the giveaway down below in the comments. But yeah, I think that is all. So make sure you guys thumbs this video up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you are subscribed if you're not subscribed already, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.